Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering the hopefully final movie in the Pixar franchise, Toy Story 4.
Woody, Buzz, Lightyear, and the rest of the gang embark on a road trip with Bonnie and a new toy named Forky.
Forky.
Or was it Sporky?
No, I said
It was
Forky.
Oh, okay, it was a spork named Forky. Now the adventurous journey turns into an unexpected reunion as Woody's slight detour leads him to his long-lost friend Bo Peep. And as Woody and Bo discuss the old days, they soon start to realize that they're two worlds apart when it comes to what they want from life as a toy. Oh, so complicated.
Right? Like, it should be that cerebral. It's kids movie, as some would say.
Now, have to start off saying, the first thing we were thinking is there's no way in heck they're going to find a way to make this fourth movie fresh and new and interesting, because the first movie was amazing, groundbreaking. The second movie was fantastic, great follow-up. The third movie, Fatso, Lotso Bear, whatever his name crazy was, my nutcase, he was just like an unpleasant character. And we said, well, okay, all the toys got passed off. There's no way they're going to do this. But guess what? They did, and we love it, and it was just a joy to watch all the way through.
Yes. Now, like I said, a lot of people had this had become sort of a controversy because they announced Toy Story 4. It was like, but why? The third one had a complete ending with, Andy leaving and the toys, like you said, being with someone else, and that'd be the new life. And for a while, they were just doing like movie shorts, like they would do those little intermission things at the theaters and shorts, but there was nothing else. But then when they said Toy Story 4 and they said they're actually going through with that, people were kind of like, but why?
And how?
Yeah, you don't need it. What else is there to tell? Well, in the third movie, they have mentioned that, when Andy grew up, a majority of the toys you see in the first two movies have been donated or sold, and Bo Peep was one of them. So it was just down to the main cast you knew from the first two movies.
Right. And we're not going to give any spoilers in case you haven't seen it, but we can tell you there's a happy ending as well as a bittersweet ending. So it's twofold. But brilliant. It was fun all the way through. It was a joy to watch. And of course we were happy to hear the return of Tom Hanks, and Tim Allen, and Annie Potts, and Tony Hale, and the new additions of Keanu Reeves and Keegan-Michael Kay, and the return of Joan Cusack, of course, and Bonnie Hunt. It was just really great.
Yeah.
It was unlike anything we expected, and the writing on this was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And there were some new elements that were put in, some new toys.
Right.
Some new elements, some new toys, and
new setting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so they weren't just copy-pasting the other three
Absolutely
movies.
not.
Only things that sort of seemed similar were like tugging at the heartstrings, but that was it. But it still tried to do a new story, new viewpoint, new aspect of the toys coming alive and the kids growing up and what to do after, the kid has grown up and left. And it's like for the toy's purpose is like wants to be fulfilling. And that was really coming in for Woody, like, Andy's gone, and then Bonnie, he's no longer like the favorite and so forth, so.
That's what I was going to mention. But
we'll continue on. Take it from here.
I was going to say it had an odd opening where for once Woody was not the favorite toy and was not being played with, and he wasn't handling it well. And that was an interesting way to open this story, because in the other three, Woody was the favorite. Woody was the star of the show. But when this movie opens, he's not the star because the little girl who has the toys doesn't want to play with him. And she just kind of banishes him, so to speak. And it was an odd and different way to open the movie where you can tell right from the beginning, this is going to be something different. This is going to be a totally different story. And you have no idea how this is going to turn out. Right. And that was evident within the first 5 minutes of watching the movie.
Right.
Which is also great.
Right. And with the addition of the new characters, before we get into that, definitely want to mention that some people have also said, with the handling of the cast, yes, everybody comes back, the characters and the voice actors.
Except for Don Rickles?
Yes. And that was probably why his character did not have a lot of lines. Had maybe like 3 lines in the whole
Right.
movie that he had passed on, so they couldn't record anymore. So that explained one part of it.
And I think it was great that they didn't replace him. They didn't say, you know what, we're gonna just scrap this and recast him. I think it was great that the part that was there they used and left it in. So
Right.
he was known for this character, and now he gets to complete the franchise still being the character.
Right. And for this one, other people have said it was really odd that the other toys were not really in the movie. I mean, apart from the beginning of the film, it mostly is about Woody and Bo, these new characters, and a little bit of Buzz, whose personality was kind of altered for this film.
I think, from the way I'm looking at it, again, it was an entirely different film, and now these toys were with another girl. And she had a different way of playing with them. She had her own favorites. And I think not only was it meant to give a different story, but it's to show you that there are differences in everything. And we saw in the first movie, you know, all the toys were the stars. In the second movie, it was a whole different focus. Because then you had the addition of Jessie and Bullseye. In the third movie, you had a different focus, like I keep mentioning,
With
that
daycare.
darn my Nut Care Bear. And then here you had a whole different focus. So I think it's giving a nod to change. There's change. And people are different. And not only that, but there have been a time jump. So what was popular with Andy and then the next kid was not popular with this one because it's a whole different time period, whole different era. And that also gets mentioned later in the movie with a new toy, Gabby Gabby, and we don't want to give that away, but it's in reference to that.
Right.
It's a whole different time frame, and Woody is no longer a favorite. Kids don't play cowboys and Native Americans anymore.
Right.
They don't play with those type of toys,
Right.
and a lot of the Mr. Potato Head and so forth, and all these are toys that are for a different era that are no longer popular or mainstream, and I think this movie does very well in relating that without being insulting at all.
Right.
And that's just what it presented.
Right, and I think you're right, because you think about it, most people want to do parodies and they have toys or something. Most of the time now they're action figures, they're superheroes, they're spies, there's something that's, or they're anime characters or something. There's always something what's trending right now that get referenced in the movie, because now in the movies when they have something's popular, it's always superhero because of what's been happening with Marvel and DC and Japan. All of a sudden it's superhero craze, so now that's
time has come. Our time has come. Yes. Okay.
Yes, now that's the new thing in here. So these other, like you said, these types of toys aren't really as popular now unless it's sci-fi superhero related.
Or someone who's collecting them.
Right.
And that is, again, made reference to in this movie. So that's why all the toys we're familiar with, they no longer have center stage because they are not the toys now that this little girl would choose to play with.
Right.
And you can see the ones that she does choose, which you'll see in the movie, again, no spoilers, are in reference to a more modern time. Right. So
now, the last thing I think we should mention that's not really spoilery is the new edition of Forky, which was a toy.
I thought it was Sporky because it's a spork.
Me too.
And no one even uses sporks anymore. It's one of the dumbest things to eat with. I'm sorry, whoever created the spork. I'm so happy for you and that you had something new that caught on for a while and you made money. But I never could stand sporks. I'm sorry.
Here, Bonnie made this out of, like, pretty much just, like, things you find in the trash.
Cleaner, googly eyes, and
a popsicle stick.
And a spork.
Yeah, and just put it together, and then it comes to life. They weren't expecting it to come to life, but it does. It'll automatically turn into a toy. And Forky was just, like, confused for a while. I said, but I'm not a toy. I'm not a toy.
And then she gives him one big googly eye and one little googly eye.
Right.
Poor little
and he can't walk right. He has to waddle. And,
on his little pipe cleaner.
And he's obsessed with the trash. because that's where he came from. So the trash is comforting for him. He keeps throwing himself away. That I was made for the trash, and he throws himself out the window. but it's funny because like is he having? I guess it was having an identity crisis because now it's like questioning. What really makes a toy? Is it something manufactured? Can it be something you make? Can it be this thing? It's a plastic utensil. Because like it really brings up that question of what can count as a toy.
Also, it brings up the question where you used to hear a lot of parents say that they buy the child a bunch of toys and they play with the pot. And it was the same thing with her. She had all these great toys, but she only had a few that she chose to play with, and the rest she didn't. And then she even went, as you said, and took the trash and created another toy. So it's just it's a nod to the imagination of children. It's a nod to spending a lot of money on the newest toys and gadgets and tech and so forth. And sometimes that kid just ends up wanting to play with something simple, something that she created, something she made, and she loved that toy just as much as some of the others, if not even more in some cases. And it was a trash. Like you said, it was made from... No, it wasn't a trash.
It was trash.
It was made from trash.
It was a trash. What is it now? What's supposed to be in the trash? It's comforting. I'm like, what's wrong with this thing? He said, quit going in the trash. He would spend like half the movie trying to get in the trash can everywhere he went, and they had to keep pulling him back out.
But it was brilliant. That was another brilliant part of this movie. So, hats off to Pixar for creating something that we never thought could be done or come about or be done competently. It was more than competent. It was exemplary. And it really gave a nice final close. It looks like it may be a close.
Sorry.
Franchise.
Sorry.
And they did it brilliantly.
Yes.
And they made you love. For me, I love parts 1 and 2 and 4. 3 not so much.
Really?
I just didn't care for them being locked up with my nutcase bear and what was happening. So my 3 parts are 1, 2, and now 4. Because I absolutely loved this movie.
Yes.
So 3 would be the one at the end for me. So it'd be 1, 2, 4, 3.
Okay. So if you have not seen Toy Story 4, please rent it or stream it on Disney Plus or get it from Amazon or buy it, because it is definitely worth the buy or the stream or the click.
Now we know you've seen the others, at least Toy Story, the original. And let us know what this franchise has meant for you in the comments below. And if you've seen Toy Story 4, let us know, did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it what you expected? Or was it more? In the comments below as well.
Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Masculine Entertainments.
And I'm Mom Entertainments.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? My man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Hit her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on in the form of a locket. People in the back, for the people in the front. For the people on the side, for the people on the front. For the people in the middle or the alley, wanna bump and everybody who